to today's launching event from no less than the Dean of the College of Medicine, Dr. Charlotte Chong.
Good morning, everyone. Pleasant good morning to all of you. We know that this is yet another milestone event, the official kickoff of UP SIBOL, a research program under the UP College of Medicine that looks at how innovation forged through close collaboration between the UP College of Engineering and the UP College of Medicine will feed into the burgeoning biomedical device development that will improve the quality of care for all Filipinos. I remember as a first-year resident in 1987 in otolaryngology, after the new government under then Corazon Aquino, we were really beset with a lot of brownouts while we were doing surgeries in OR 15 of PGH, in the first floor now occupied by the University Health Service in PGH. We had to devise a 3-in-1 operating room unit with suction, headlight, and cautery using a car battery and a car horn. This became a reliable backup and won for me my first inter-hospital research paper award. That was followed by other surgical diagnostic projects like the locally made Fresnel's glasses that we use for diagnosis of dizziness as a replacement to the expensive important goggles that were used for cases of vertigo at that time. We also went on to actually develop new surgical innovations and techniques for head and neck surgery. So in otolaryngology, where Dr. Philip and I come from, we have really been encouraged to think out of the box and how we can innovate to make healthcare more affordable and available through innovation. This is why, with the newborn hearing screening law that we helped pass in 2009 and the proven effects of early intervention, we pursued a collaboration with Professor Louis Season for the Hearing for Life project under the PICARI-CHED program. We hope that this will continue to get a grant from the UST for further development. So when Dr. Edward Wang told me in PCHRD DOST event where we featured Hele of his desire for a clinical skills lab in the Department of Orthopedics, I encouraged him to look at having a clinical simulation or skills lab that will have instruments, skills training, and instrument innovation that we will be able to prototype for the training of the surgeons. The Hele experience really was my inspiration for convincing Dr. Edward Wang to start SIBOL. Thanks to NIH, the CLIC or CLIC conversations leading to innovation and collaboration clicked, and we started having more clinicians, surgeons discuss projects with our engineering faculty and colleagues. I even gave scholarships to about 5 medical students who wanted to enroll in the elective for bioengineering, and this was quite inspiring and quite encouraging for all of them. We in UPCM are, of course, very proud of how SIBOL Task Force Against COVID-19 came out with about 10 projects that help us respond to the pandemic. The UP College of Medicine facilitated the safety passes for engineers to be able to work in their laboratories, as we have now been able to secure funding for SIBOL floor in the upcoming Medical Sciences building. We are assured of a home for our budding innovators for the collaborative work, perhaps as a happy place where clinicians, surgeons can work with our engineers for their creative product development. As Dean, it is my fervent hope that the seed that we have planted in this program will have roots to keep its foundation strong through the coming years, grow with more projects between UP College of Engineering and UPCM, with faculty development programs to entice young, aspiring engineers and clinicians to work together so that in the biomedical health fields, the Philippines can become a leader. SIBOL should be able to give us this firm footing, ready and able not only for this kickoff this morning, but to survive the race and win the marathon. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Mabuhay po tayong lahat at maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat din po, Dean Chong. As an investigator of UP SIBOL, hearing your remarks and introduction makes us and hopefully everyone else in the event today much more energized and invigorated to contribute to the realization of the vision that you have illustrated to us today for UP SIBOL. Your experience as current director of the Hearing Screening Reference Center and former director of the Philippine National Ear Institute, and your insights as an academician of the National Academy of Science and Technology, and your past experiences in advancing local biomedical device technologies can definitely help us carry us through greater heights in improving healthcare service in our country. Thank you very much, Dean.
Thank you.
Every healthcare practitioner in the Philippines has experienced the frustration of not being able to deliver optimum care to patients, whether in public or private setting, because of the lack and poor access to available medical devices. While this is true across all fields of healthcare, it is most palpable in the surgical specialties where the range of instruments, equipment, and devices are not only expensive but often inappropriate for the setting of a low to middle income country like the Philippines. Establishing an innovation laboratory and collaborating with engineers and basic and applied scientists are the logical steps in addressing these challenges and in streamlining the translation of device ideas from abstract concepts to tangible products that have been tested for safety and efficacy in both engineering and surgical environments. And all this would not be possible without the support of Dean Chong and our next speaker. A pioneer in genetics in the Philippines and the Asia Pacific region, she was part of the group that established the Asia Pacific Society for Human Genetics and served as president in 2008 to 2010. She was responsible for setting up the National Newborn Screening Services in the Philippines, and she's an academician of the National Academy of Science and Technology, and of course, the current Chancellor of the University of the Philippines, Manila. Let us all welcome Chancellor Carmencita Padilla.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Science and Technology Undersecretary Rowena Guevara, PCHRD Executive Director Jimmy Montoya, former UPCM Dean Alberto Rojas, former CM Dean Agnes Mejia, Vice Chancellor for Research Armand Crisostomo, UPCM Dean Charlotte Chong, UP College of Engineering Associate Dean Gerald Happy Denoga, NIH Executive Director Eva Cotionco de la Paz, UP System TTBDO Director Luis Sison, UP Manila TTBDO Director Lourdes Marie Tejero, UP Diliman TTBDO Director Magdaleno Vasquez, our SIBOL Project Leader Dr. Edward Wang, researchers, guests, good morning. Let me welcome you to this formal introduction and launch of the UP Surgical Innovation and Biotechnology Laboratory, also known by its inspired moniker, SIBOL, meaning growth of something exciting. It is actually a postponed event, should have happened more than a year ago, but it's never too late to have this grand kickoff. Now, SIBOL has proven to be one of the most successful collaborative programs of scientists from different fields. As I was saying, COVID must have pushed us. It must have been the trigger. It has pushed both fields to come up with ideas to help our people. But even before COVID-19 pandemic, SIBOL was already fortuitously being organized. So 2 years ago, they received a grant from the PCHRD to create and develop locally sourced healthcare equipment and devices to respond to the needs of the hospitals, healthcare workers, and patients under the program. And SIBOL proved auspicious, being crucial in the preparations of the UP Manila and PGH in responding swiftly, holistically, and scientifically to the worsening COVID-19 crisis. But what strikes me with this group is that when the grant was awarded to them, we did not have a pandemic. They had the grant. But as the COVID actually emerged, they saw the importance of their group in probably come up with solutions that our people needed, that our healthcare system needed. So definitely since then, SIBOL has been steadfast and persevering, constantly discovering ways to fulfill its mission of optimizing patient care by developing much needed innovative devices and technologies. Ideas will remain as ideas until somebody picks them up. And I'm really proud of our group because they identified the problems and they look for possible solutions, whether old or new or innovative. But definitely in the past 1.5 years, we have witnessed how SIBOL as a cross-disciplinary group from UP Manila and UP Diliman has been strengthening the university's response to the pandemic. This really makes us more ready for future pandemics. And in between pandemics, we expect both fields now to even come up with other ideas that will prepare us better for a bigger pandemic in the future. While health frontliners are responding to the immediate needs of COVID-19 patients, this group of frontliners are inventing, innovating, and creating new technologies to enable cost-effective, evidence-based, and more affordable care for Filipino patients. A few months ago, I requested Dr. Wang for a group photograph of both groups from Diliman and UP Manila. And what struck me was that they never really had the chance to meet face-to-face together. Rather, they were meeting online, and the pictures that he showed me were actually snapshots of groups in Diliman and people in UP Manila. So technology was in the middle and brought the two groups together. Moreover, SIBOL has been modeling the value and system of interdisciplinary work. We in the health community are learning greatly and appreciating from them the essence of applying the tenets of effective cooperation and partnerships, of relying on each other to craft appropriate and lasting solutions to our health woes. Gone are the days when doctors say, we'll find the solution. Gone are the days when engineers will say, we'll come up with something and give it to the doctors. Today, our engineers and doctors are working on the same table, looking at the same problem, and hoping to come up with a solution that's even better, rather than being done separately. The SIBOL projects include researchers from different fields, and I really want to mention them because prior to SIBOL, I've been in the university now for decades. I've never seen them really sit down on the table together, but now I'm proud to say that in medicine, we have faculty from orthopedic, surgery, ENT, pulmonary medicine, cardiology, family medicine, obstetrics, and pediatrics. And from the engineering side, we are working with engineers from different fields: chemical engineering, computer science, electrical engineering, industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, materials engineering. We're also working with artists and industrial designers, physicists, biologists, chemists, marine scientists. UP has all the faculty and the talent, but this talent separately will not be able to come up with the projects and the products that you have right now. What you have shown is that together, you can develop new devices and repurpose existing ones for the patients and healthcare workers, local ventilators and respirators, personal protective equipment, e-devices, decontaminating systems, and even robotics that protect frontliners from exposure to risk and hazards. UP is truly proud of what you have achieved. I'm so happy, as I was telling the group prior to admitting the other participants to this session, it's nice to see this happen before my retirement, because this is really dream come true for us in administration. UP Manila is extremely proud of the contributions of SIBOL to the swift, integrated, and science-based response to UP Manila and PGH needs. The collaboration fosters between UP Manila and Diliman and among its different subspecialties is the striking feature: collaboration, partnership. These are vital contributions to the pandemic response. But I'd like to challenge the group. Start thinking of projects that probably are being needed beyond the pandemic. I know you have started, but we have to start thinking about the other problems of our country, the other problems of our healthcare workers. This synergy makes you a force to reckon with. It's a team that is always on the top, that will be on the top of the latest developments and solutions in health. The whole country applauds your achievements. In such a short time, you have proven that we can do it. I really look forward to the day that government and probably with the help of the Department of Science and Technology, make an appeal to our government that our scientists can produce international standards, can produce products of international standards, and maybe we can say to ourselves, why don't we do it first, Filipino first? So we marvel with all of your accomplishments. I really wish you the very best. We wish the end of this pandemic, but I can already say it, this group will go far. And I hope to have more engineers, more physicians to be part of the SIBOL. Mabuhay ang mga Filipino scientists ng SIBOL. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat and welcome to today's kick-off Grand Conference.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Padilla. The UP SIBOL would not be here without your support and guidance. So to continue with our program, the next part will walk us further down the memory lane to reminisce and understand more the beginnings of UP SIBOL's synergistic collaborations and partnerships. We shall hear from two of the UP SIBOL's champions, the historical context that propelled the establishment of this program and its evolution to how it has been contributing today. Our first speaker will be Dr. Alberto Rojas, who was the Dean of the College of Medicine at the time of conceptualization of the UP SIBOL program. He is currently the head of the Surgery Department of Manila Doctors Hospital, while also serving as a clinical professor of the Department of Surgery of UP Manila. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Dr. Alberto Rojas.
Hello, good morning. A pleasant good morning to everyone. I thank Dr. Wang for inviting me to this Grand Kickoff Conference. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. My assigned topic is our dream, the Philippine Biomedical Device Innovation Consortium. You know, dreams can lead us to our goals and objectives. Researchers, inventors, and innovators always dream of an ideal research-friendly environment that helps and provides support to their work. That means good pay, protected time for research, access to the latest literature, access to other health disciplines and expertise when needed, support staff, and of course, funding. In developed countries, the research environment or system makes their faculty more productive, thus making research an attractive career choice. It's much easier for them to work because everything seems to be there. All the people that they need are provided for. So they only think of ideas, they give to somebody, then it is developed, and the process in the system is already in place. In the Philippines, this is not so. That's why I think clinical practice is still a more attractive choice to many of us in the medical field. With an effective national framework in place, research and development can significantly contribute to the engines of economy towards nation building. And best example is the new technology, development of new technology in the US, where they have university research consortia, they have the Silicon Valley, they have the weapons development program of the US Defense Department. In the system, they have the framework in the universities and research organizations. They have the people, the academe, committed to research with reasonable income and funding support. And there is an additional component, the culture of excellence and service to humanity. New technology in the US contributes significantly to their economy. It is driving their economy. It's a multi-billion or maybe trillion industry in the United States. The same is true with other developed countries. And to me, this is our dream in the long run, in the long term. Now, how we started, how SIBOL started was actually because of an offshoot of our project in CHED, Picari. The Institute of Health Innovation and Translational Medicine. Chancellor Padilla was then its director. And because of that project, we were able to benchmark with University of California, San Francisco, and University of California, Berkeley. Their idea is actually very simple. Just putting together researchers and innovators from various disciplines, that means doctors, engineers, businessmen, in the regular weekly meetings and to discuss solutions to certain clinical problems. The proponent continues his or her project, then conducts studies to show proof of concept, then goes on to publish the studies. And when a solution is later discovered, the next meeting can include already willing investors, or they can even spin off companies from their projects. They have IP experts and business experts that can be consulted on how best to proceed. I can see that now this is present in UP, and we are ready. We are ready to do more things. The Philippine Biomedical Device Innovation Consortium was established with the same concept, with support from DOST and PCHRD. Bring in together interested innovators and share ideas, of course, without disclosing your potential invention. This initiative is supported by PCHRD and DOST. Proposals with potential may be submitted to PCHRD for funding. Furthermore, PCHRD has regional research consortia throughout the country, and DOST and PCHRD has funds for research. And actually what is missing is people, or rather we lack the critical mass of people, of innovators that will generate a critical amount of innovations in order to start or at least generate our industry to become part of driving our economy. And what is also important is, this effort, if seen by many people, by the young people who are interested in research, it can be a model for them to look forward to, that maybe in the future, they can become researchers and innovators and may decide to go full-time on research as their career path. The UP Manila SIBOL, or Surgical Innovation and Biotechnology program, will put in place a structure where interested people from various units of the university, from various disciplines, we can come together to find solutions to clinical problems in PGH. We have so many problems in PGH, clinical problems, and I'm sure there's so much that we can do for our patients to improve patient outcome. So right now, the pandemic has affected SIBOL, but if you come to think about it, it has actually helped promote the progression or the things in UP SIBOL. How is that? First, the pandemic provided problems that we have to solve. As we all know, necessity is the mother of all inventions. Necessity is the mother of all inventions. Second, before the pandemic, it's so difficult to hold meetings between doctors and engineers. UP Diliman is so far away. They find it difficult to go. We find it difficult to go to UP Diliman. They also find it difficult to go to UP Manila. But with the pandemic, we can do it easily online. So that's true, Chancellor Menchit Padilla. I think we are meeting more frequently online, and that is generating a lot of things, of improvements in how we do things. And of course, the important thing is, let us show to the Philippines, to the rest of the Philippines, that SIBOL will be a success, because it can become the framework that other universities in the regional research consortia of PCHRD can look upon. You in UP SIBOL, we start the research in the undergraduate level by conducting joint courses in innovations. This will generate a lot of interest among students. Of course, it's a long-term solution, but it will ensure that we'll have a continuous flow. If we start in the undergraduate level, this will ensure that we will have a constant flow of interested people in research and innovation. That's very important. But right now, what we need to do is to convince our faculty to conduct more researches, because this is what we need, faculty-driven researches in UP Manila SIBOL. We need to encourage more, provide more incentives, because this is what we need to do to show that we will be successful in UP Manila SIBOL. When I had the talk with Dr. Wang, I said, you know, when you start this, there is no room for failure. You should only succeed in this endeavor, because so much depends on this. If we are successful, everyone will follow. And you can just imagine in the next 5 to 10 years, if this is so, I am sure little by little, and with support from other interested people, we will be able to achieve our goals, just like what they have in the University of California. Well, I would like to thank Ed Wang. I think this is really his project, for pursuing his dream that this is what we need to have in UP Manila in order to be more productive. Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to share these ideas with you. Thank you very much, and good morning.
Thank you, Dr. Alberto Rojas. One of my boss during the last 5 years. Your pioneering effort in bringing together clinicians and engineers to drive biomedical device innovation in the Philippines will forever be imprinted in the hearts and minds of innovators and inventors. Personally, I am grateful to Dr. Rojas for the opportunity to join him in his advocacy in biomedical innovation. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is an academician of the National Academy of Science and Technology. He is the current chair of the UP Manila Committee on Research Integrity, the past chair and professor of the Department of Orthopedics in the College of Medicine. It's an honor to introduce the program leader of the UP Surgical Innovation and Biotechnology Laboratory, and of course, my current boss, one of many actually, Dr. Edward Wang. Welcome to the virtual stage, sir.
Thank you, Philip, and thank you very much, Dr. Rojas. Philip, let me share screen lang. Okay. To all our dignitaries here, there's so many na who have graced this occasion, and I thank you very much for gracing this morning's very important occasion. Now, good morning, everyone. This is really a most exciting day for the UP SIBOL. And on behalf of all of our members, researchers, and workforce from both the UP Manila and UP Diliman, I would like to sincerely thank you all for gracing this kickoff conference. Through your active participation and support, you have contributed to the birth and growth of this program. It falls now upon my shoulders to provide you with a short introduction and history of what we know today as the UP SIBOL program. So allow me to start by quoting from the 2017 WHO Global Atlas of Medical Devices. Health technologies are essential for a functioning health system. Medical devices in particular are crucial in the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of illness and disease, as well as patient rehabilitation. At the same time, the WHO 2021 report on medical devices states health access to good quality, affordable, and appropriate health products, meaning health technologies and medical devices, is indispensable to advance universal healthcare, address health emergencies, and promote healthier populations. Immediately, we note that these health technologies and medical devices need to have the 3 A's: accessible, affordable, and appropriate or relevant. Of course, quality is a given. Now, I ask you all to take a look at this collage of different health devices and technologies, even those we sorely need during this pandemic. And I ask you the question brought about by the WHO description of medical devices. Are they accessible? Are they affordable? And are they appropriate? God forbid, sometimes we even have to ask if they are of good quality. I will answer that question with a quote from still another WHO report, which unfortunately applies to our country. Almost all medical devices present in developing countries have been designed for use in industrialized countries. Consequently, they are often unaffordable and are maladapted to low resource settings. So the question is, why don't we make them? Yes, we can, but we need the engineers and the scientists and the clinicians to work together to design these devices. However, while we do have individual clinicians and engineers doing this, there are to date few such mature institutionalized linkages between clinicians and engineers, whether in the government or private sectors. The De La Salle University has taken the initiative to form the Institute of Biomedical Engineering and Health Technologies, or the IBET. Then there is the Philippine Biomedical Device Innovation Consortium, but there's little else. This lack of collaboration between engineers, scientists, and clinicians is a situation we also see in the University of the Philippines, where two great masses of brain cells, one in Diliman, the engineers, and one in Manila, the clinicians, hardly ever meet, seemingly separated by the great divide of the Pasig River. Sometime in early 2019, I was approached by 3 women. We're looking for someone to set up a biomedical innovation program. Well, I thought it would be a great opportunity to take in the sites, not in Singapore, but at the National University of Singapore, where I was going to have a research meeting. So there, I visited Big Heart, or the Biomedical Institute for Global Health Research and Technology, the Engineering Fabrication Lab, the Center for Additive Manufacturing, the Advanced Surgical Training Center. Then came back home to try and start a biomedical program with Dr. Philip Puliante, your moderator, naming it initially BIRTH, Biomedical Innovation and Research Translational Hub, with co-laboratory skills prototyping lab. Now, opportunity knocked on our door in February of 2019 in the form of a letter request from then UP-TT-BDO Director Michay Pasha, who sent to NIH Director Eva Cutionco de la Paz a list of engineering projects requiring clinical trials. So together with Ma'am Eva, we set up what we called a click meeting, conversations leading to innovations and collaborations. And thus, the first ever click was held on March 26, 2019. So this marked the start of the construction of a bridge across the Pasig. We had a teleconference. The UP Diliman group on one side and the UP Manila group on the other side. And you know we meant business this time if you see all the big wigs who joined the teleconference, including TTBDO directors Pasha and Vasquez, past and present from UP Diliman, our own Dean Chong, our TTBDO director Ludi Tejero, and of course NIH Executive Director Eva Cutionco de la Paz. The meeting, surprise of surprises, was unlike other meetings, a success. We matched some of the engineers and scientists from UP Diliman with clinicians on the UP Manila side, so they could continue from conversations into collaborations. Then we decided ourselves to brave the traffic and cross the bridge to UP Diliman. We made a presentation entitled Getting to Know Each Other at a meeting sponsored by the UP Diliman, TTBDO, and then Dean Rizalina de Leon at their College of Engineering to a large group of engineers and scientists researchers. Now, this was a list of topics we brought to the audience. So take a look at these topics. Let me show you a problem which received a lot of question and attention. The upper right-hand picture shows you a common injury at the PGH where the skin and soft tissues of the leg are completely ripped off in a vehicular accident. A good method to cover this defect is using what we call vacuum-assisted closure, or VAC for short. Now, there are many different types of VAC apparatuses now available which are portable and convenient for patient use. These commercially available devices are imported and are unaffordable for the PGH patient. So while they seem simple to make, we clinicians don't know how to make them. And the best we can do is shown on the right lower picture, the entire construct on the leg connected to a vacuum provided by a wall suction, which is why in the PGH, plastic surgeon Jerry Hermar says it is more appropriately called wall suction assisted closure, or WASAC. The engineers must have taken pity on this WASAC method of closure because this project received countless questions and suggestions. But all in all, it was a great meeting, and we took it one step further. So what we did now was we arranged for the engineers and the scientists to cross that bridge and visit the PGH so that they could see for themselves the problems that they were constructing solutions for. So 2 months after the initial click, we had visitors from UP Diliman in the PGH. These are pictures showing you the chair of the operating room, Dr. Nelson Cabaluna, welcoming them, and the bottom pictures show you how the engineers studied the equipment and how they visited patients who were now hooked up to the very infamous WASAC. Now, as a result of this encounter, 4 projects were born. All collaborations between UP Manila clinicians and UP Diliman engineers and scientists. Aware of the new direction advanced by the DOST, and upon the advice of another good friend, PCHRD Executive Director Jimmy Montoya, we submitted these projects to the DOST PCHRD together with a project for the establishment of an office and laboratory for research and development. So we went through the process of writing, revising, presenting, defending, revising, resubmitting, and in the process, the program was christened SIBOL, a Tagalog term meaning germination. And at this point, I must say thank you to our Chancellor, who was with us at different very critical and crucial points in the generation and final presentation of SIBOL. By the end of 2019, we were able to present the program to Yusek Guevara and the Execom of DOST. And Yusek Guevara, who is here with us now, thank you, Yusek, gifted us for Christmas with a 120 million grant for SIBOL. That was a truly, truly great run. Sana tuloy-tuloy na. But no good run lasts for long. So just after the signing of the MOA between the DOST and the UP Manila, we were overtaken by COVID-19. Things happened in quick succession. And before we knew it, we were on complete lockdown. By the end of the month, what started as the Ides of March had seen an endless litany of friends and colleague frontliners whose lives had ended too soon. The first of whom was my anesthesiologist of 27 years, Dr. Greg Makasayat. So these personal tragedies, together with the spirit of Bayanihan, made the small core group of SIBOL ask what it could do in the face of this viral onslaught. We only had the MOA. We had no money, we had no infrastructure, we had no equipment. But we had a reason for being. And most importantly, we had Viber, we had Zoom. I remember on March 22, right after I was informed early morning that my good friend Dr. Makasayat had passed away, I called Nats Orellasa, and still shaking from fear and disbelief, I told him we had to convince SIBOL to pursue our mandate. And it wasn't difficult, because soon enough we found out everyone was of the same mindset. To protect the healthcare worker and the Filipino. And the deluge of support, cooperation, and collaboration increased the number of both projects and participants exponentially. The exchange of discussions, debates, ideas, and innovations across each Viber thread was unbelievable. 3 months later, June 20, we presented to the Dean, and we had 11 ongoing projects. We divided our thrusts into 3: PPE, disinfection, and telemonitoring, basically to protect, to disinfect, and to distance. So here you see the 3 teams and 11 projects with the principal and co-investigators. Always 1 clinician and 1 engineer or scientist. So under the PPE team, we have the reusable mask, the PAPR, the coveralls. Under the disinfection team, we had the Sanipad, the negative pressure room, clean incubate, PPE and disinfection. And under the telemonitoring team, we had the telepresence, telemetry, ESTET with the 12th prone pillow plus and the 13th echo on site added later on. So you will hear more about this later on in 2 video presentations. Now, most of these projects are DOST-PCHRD funded. Director Montoya granted us an audience 1 week into the initiation of these projects and gave us his full support. Initially, while these government funds had not yet arrived, prototypes and expenditures were and continue to be shouldered by private donations, the biggest donors of which have been my own Xavier High School classmates, class of 1975. So 2020 was our birthing year, and it saw the initiation of many of the COVID task force projects, aside from the original 4 projects. We were able also to share our quickly gained experience and expertise, and we held a webinar together with the NAS on PPE, involving stakeholders from both government and private institutions. 2020 saw our first Christmas, of course, by Zoom. 2021 saw us mature into a more structured program. We now have different activities, all of which will be discussed later on. While we remain steadfast in our mission, we acknowledge also that we cannot pursue our goals on our own, and it has been and it continues to be your support, your encouragement, your advice, and your experience that guide us. Our learning curve is steep, but we thank you all for partnering with us and pushing us up this slope. Now, I end my presentation on a high note, but also on a very cautious note, because our curve continues to increase and continues to rise. There are still a myriad COVID problems needing solutions. And even when COVID-19 has waned, the problems and inadequacies of Philippine healthcare will continue, and they can overwhelm us. SIBOL senses that coming storm, but it has taken root, and it has begun the process of germination. So allow me to end by acknowledging the passion, the brilliance, and the dedication of all of our UP SIBOL members. And on their behalf, on behalf of the entire UP SIBOL family, I thank you all for gracing our kickoff conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wang. We can only salute the perseverance, patience, brilliance, creativity, and hard work you have given to guide us all into gradually achieving milestones, unraveling problems into solutions, and accomplishments that we can all be proud of. Now, let us watch these 2 videos showcasing our current achievements, activities, and highlighting UP SIBOL's accomplishments to date. Let us get to know the faces behind UP SIBOL, the clinicians, scientists, engineers, and designers who stepped up and took on the challenge to make a difference and contribute to the enhancement of the delivery of healthcare services to the Filipinos. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you these videos on UP SIBOL COVID Task Force projects and the faces of UP SIBOL.
At UP SIBOL, we believe in giving the care that Filipinos deserve. Care that extends through different sectors. Care that is thoughtfully designed. Care that is not just affordable, but also accessible for many. Through collaboration, we have created the following medical devices to be able to deliver this care. The SaniPod is a no-contact self-contained disinfection cubicle that healthcare workers can use after they exit COVID wards. It allows them to safely remove their personal protective equipment, or PPE, without risk of contamination. It uses an innovative fogging system that disinfects the user. In addition, the SaniPod is equipped with UV irradiation that disinfects the pod for the next user. Clean Intubate is a disinfecting device, specifically for laryngoscope blades used for intubation. This device reduces the risk of viral transmission to healthcare personnel. UP SIBOL PAPR is a device that protects its user from contaminants in the air. As a respirator, it comes with a battery-operated blower that provides the user with clean air in a tight-fitting respirator, a loose-fitting hood, or a helmet. The UP SIBOL face mask is designed to address both the need to preserve public health as well as prevent generation of infectious solid waste in a time of crisis like the COVID-19 pandemic. This face mask uses breathable nanofiber material that can withstand disinfection procedures for more than 30 times or equivalent to 30 days. The reusable SIBOL face mask has biodegradable filter materials that can naturally degrade in the environment after disposal. My Beshi, a telepresence robot designed to connect patients in isolation with healthcare workers, loved ones, clergies, and others. Without the need for internet connection, the telepresence robot delivers clear video communication that supports efficient and emphatic delivery of healthcare. The RxBox telemetry system is a biomedical device that allows healthcare workers, specifically nurses, to remotely monitor vital signs of patients in COVID wards through a monitoring dashboard. It uses the existing RxBox device with a newly developed telemetry software application called Lifeline. The Echo On-Site device allows off-site experts to view actual images in real time, addressing the gap in limited bedside guidance brought about by the pandemic. Prone Pillow Plus, a supportive pillow designed for pregnant and obese women in acute respiratory failure that need to be placed in prone position. It allows comfortable and safe prone positioning and monitoring of fetal heart tones and uterine contractions. At UP SIBOL, science fuels our creations, while care and compassion power us forward. We invite you to join us. Let's all work together for a better equipped, better prepared, better than ever Philippines.
amazing videos. So that's what professionally done videos look like. The UP SIBOL is grateful to the UP College of Mass Communication team of Professor Amor Olager for the excellent work in telling its story. We hope to spread the word about biomedical device innovation and scientific collaboration within the UP system, and we dream about expanding nationally, regionally, and hopefully internationally. UP SIBOL acknowledges that innovations in healthcare won't be possible without the help of our partners and friends who help cultivate the collaborations, facilitate the linkages and discussions, and guide us through the steps and hurdles in device innovation and commercialization. To provide you more description about this strategy is the Health Program Director of the Philippine Genome Center and professor at the UP Manila College of Medicine. As the convener of the very first collaborative meeting with the UP Diliman Engineering and Science faculty, that we now call CLIC, or Conversations Leading to Innovation and Collaborations, UP SIBOL is truly indebted to our next speaker for its exponential growth. Fellow researchers, please welcome the Executive Director of the National Institutes of Health, Dr. Eva Cutionco de la Paz. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Philip, for your kind introduction. Congratulations to the UP SIBOL. I'd like to give a short talk. I do have a presentation, if I can share my slides. This is truly an exciting day for UP Manila, and of course the College of Medicine, where UP SIBOL is based. So magandang umaga po muli sa inyong lahat. Thank you for this opportunity to share the story about the etymology, the history of the phrase CLIC, which stands for Conversations Leading to Innovations and Collaborations. In our past lives, myself as a Vice Chancellor for Research and Dr. Eloy Marcelo as the first Director of TTBDO Manila, we organized a meeting of PGH clinicians and basic scientists from UP Diliman upon the request of then Vice President Gisela Concepcion. Our stark realization was that basic scientists had fantastic research outputs, diagnostic kits, medicinal products, medical devices that can be used in the clinics. However, the clinicians on the opposite side of the table said they were very good products, very good research outputs, but they did not need them. 2 years later, I received a letter from a friend, the then director of UP Diliman TTBDO, Engineer Michay Pasha, who's now the Vice Chancellor in UP Diliman. The letter had a list of medicinal or of medical products generated from research, which they hoped can be used in the clinics. It was the same situation all over again. This sparked an idea in my mind that maybe, just maybe, to avoid being in similar situations in the future, conversations should begin early enough where clinicians are able to convey to researchers, inventors, what they need. And this need is because the biomedical device is not available. It may be available, but not affordable, or a current device needs additional features to make it work better. I thought, what name would click? And so CLIC, with the deletion mutation of the letter K, came into being. I found this helpful article on the art of conversations from Tracking Wonders. It talks about how conversations can advance our best ideas forward because they can incite moments of discovery and wonder. They gave 4 key ingredients that can best use the power of conversation to engage in meaningful, fruitful collaboration. And let me share them with you. We should learn to listen. They said that good ideas need space to breathe. And a central precept of collaborative brainstorming is practicing deep, receptive listening. Unconscious biases can keep us from recognizing the potential value in someone else's idea, and we need to open up instead of sizing up. Shortly after we created the Click, we had a video conference. This was pre-pandemic, and the reason for the virtual meeting was the traffic and not COVID. So you can see here on the left is the engineering side of UP Diliman. This is Vice Chancellor Michay Pasha. And here you see, of course, the team from UP Manila, and we have Dean Chong, Dr. Wang, and the rest, TTBDO Director Ludi Tejero, and the rest of the team. The next is for us to focus on ideas and not ourselves. They said have more substantial conversations rather than small talk. Sometimes we need to step back and remember the big idea, the project, the creative problem at hand, and not indulge in bringing attention to ourselves. We must constantly connect outside our field, just like what UP SIBOL is doing. Surgeons connecting with material scientists. Just think what might happen if you reach out to other people who are committed, just like you are, to discover and innovate. Thus, we have UP SIBOL, thanks to Dr. Wang and his brilliant team. This was the first Click visit of the UP Diliman engineers, material scientists to the PGH, meeting clinicians, and even Dr. Wang showed us pictures about them visiting the PGH operating room. Lastly, let us step outside of ourselves and realize that the world is a creative partner and can inspire ideas. Tracking Wonder mentions that most great ideas are not born out of nothing. Several great ideas are born out of paying attention to the world around us. Accidental discoveries are intertwined pillars of the serendipity effect. A collaborative conversation is a purposeful, outcome-driven conversation aimed at building on each other's ideas. I'd like to add a very important ingredient, friendship. Friends from high school, friends from med school, colleagues, friends who are colleagues from different professions. These also start meaningful conversations. So let us continue having these conversations that can lead to innovations and collaborations. Again, congratulations to UP SIBOL. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat at magandang araw po.
Maraming salamat din po, Doc Eva, for thoroughly describing the role of Click in sustaining these collaborations established between not just individuals, not just researchers and practitioners, but also institutions that could really make a dent in the way we collaborate, work together, establish relationships and friendships, and tough it through the turbulence of research and innovation, and deliver the much needed excellent healthcare service in our country. So for the next part, let us now watch the second video showcasing the collaborators, the brave ones, the faces behind UP SIBOL.
When you walk into a hospital or a clinic and you take a look at all the medical equipment and devices around you, so you ask yourself, how many things are actually made in the Philippines? And I'm not going to be surprised if your answer to me is almost nothing. So in order for us to be able to provide our citizens the most relevant and the most cost-effective equipment and devices, it probably will be best if we actually had it or had some supply here in the Philippines.
The UP Surgical Innovation and Biotechnology Laboratory, or the UP SIBOL, was started as a response to the frustration of surgeons and healthcare providers who feel they have failed to deliver optimum care to their patients because of the inadequacy, incompatibility, unaffordability, of imported medical devices. This sustainable response is through local innovation of surgical devices adapted to the health needs of our people.
I remember both the Chancellor and the Dean actually talked to me asking me, would you like to, or would we like to come up with a program addressing these problems, biomedical equipment and devices? Without that kind of support, you wouldn't be able to come up with these collaborations.
SIBOL is a multi and cross-disciplinary field spanning many subfields of engineering, and artificial intelligence and computer science is just one among the several or the many fields that are collaborating.
The biggest influence that SIBOL had ay sa mga students. Nagkaroon tayo ng elective class that is handled by Ms. Rox De Leon and Dr. Edward Wang. So this elective provides students some kind of awareness and appreciation para sa biomedical engineering.
One of the biggest strengths of UP SIBOL as an organization really is the people that are part of the group. We get very excited thinking about what we can do, how we can grow the organization, how we can provide opportunity for the engineering students and innovators who want to develop something for the Philippines.
Within the next 5 years, I can fairly say that there is an increased interest in the biomedical engineering and biomedical sciences as a result of the pandemic, that we are really now concerned about coming up with solutions, preparing for the future and the next pandemic.
I think from a general standpoint, our society will benefit from cultivating a culture of innovation and collaboration that is well recognized and supported in various aspects, whether logistical, financial, or even administrative. So I think if policies are in place to encourage careers in this field without us having to worry about encountering significant resistance or roadblocks, I think this will be a great way to inspire more innovators and inventors.
I worried about the healthcare workers who were forced to stay in 8 or even 12-hour duty schedules inside a contaminated area. We needed to help them breathe better, as well as protect them from most of these contaminants.
The constraints of the pandemic was a big challenge in itself, and the lockdown really barred us from doing site visits and in-person meetings. But I guess that didn't stop it, because we have online conference platforms right now.
In PGH, which is a COVID referral center, we attend to a lot of pregnant patients, both that are due to deliver and both that are undelivered that have COVID-19. I think it was last August when we had a very young patient who came in with COVID-19, severe pneumonia, and she was intubated, placed on prone, and unfortunately the outcome was not very good. She did not survive. But then when we went into discussions, we were asking the residents, how did you put her on prone? And they expressed the difficulty in putting her on prone and on monitoring her. And it impacted me so much that I said, we can do so much better for our patients.
The usual procurement practices of UP, it was actually okay. But the problem was the materials that we need are not the usual materials that UP procures. So we had a hard time finding vendors, to agree on what we need. And then actually, some of the materials that we need were procured from abroad.
The main challenge was actually the distance, since the doctors are based in UP Manila and we are based here at UP Diliman. So communication was only through Viber. Then when we needed parts, they had to send it over using some kind of courier. So for bigger parts, it was harder to send over.
So as an engineer, it was really something new for me. So it was crucial that we had clinicians in the team to help us through the process.
As clinicians, we are not, or personally, I'm not accustomed to doing biomedical devices. So what I can provide is the clinical expertise and opinion On the uses, the principles, but basically on creating them, I have no experience. So that's where the engineers come in.
Collaborating with clinicians, industrial designers, visual communication experts, among others, has made a lot of difference in our research practices.
We need an investor who will believe in our product and actually invest in making it, increasing its commercial readiness.
What really makes me happy ultimately is being able to see that patients and other people benefit positively from the things that we do. When they tell us that our innovations have helped them, have given them more than just the physical healing, but more on the general wellness, yung kagalingan.
Yung pet peeve ko, giving us the bureaucratic and the legal space to operate at a much faster pace. Kasi talaga, a lot of these rules are becoming, are no longer helpful in this fast-paced, innovation-driven world that we are living in. Sad to say, as much as we want to follow the rules, I think it's time now for the rules to adjust to the new realities.
SIBOL is very daring. So we are looking at projects that we have not worked on before. We have a very dynamic group of clinicians as well as computer scientists and engineers working together. And with this, I think by being very daring and thinking of big projects, we can go very far.
But I think with adversity comes opportunity. And I would like to say that UP SIBOL was a perfect example of how this was in full display.
It's not enough that we know that we can build it. It's useless. It's just good intentions at the end of the day if we do not make it translate to the common healthcare worker.
But again, at the end of the day, whatever we can contribute, we feel very happy that we had this chance. I guess not all have this chance.
And hopefully, people really get to notice this one, no? Notice SIBOL, really support it 100% and notice its relevance, no? Na ngayon, parang medyo tumingkad siya because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Sana tuloy-tuloy ito. Kahit walang pandemic, tuloy-tuloy pa rin po siya.
Thank you once again to Professor Olaguer and her team for that wonderfully and professionally done video. I hope this video will inspire our audience to join us in our advocacy in promoting biomedical device innovations. We value collaboration, and we hope to meet more people who have the same mindset. In this light, may we call on the coordinators and organizers of the different conversation strategies we have in UP SIBOL to attract, engage, and facilitate collaborations to generate the much-needed innovations in various sectors of healthcare services. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Nathaniel Aureliasa Jr., one of our coordinators for CLIC, Engineer Rox De Leon, the coordinator for Innovations in Healthcare Lectures, and one of the organizers of the special topic course for graduate and undergraduate students in the College of Engineering in UP Diliman, and Dr. Mickey Miranda, our youngest member and coordinator of the student immersion internship program called BINHI, Doc Nats, Mom Rox, and Doc Mickey. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Sir Philip, for the introduction. And I would like to especially thank NIH Executive Director Dr. Eva Cotionco de la Paz for narrating the history and even the etymology of how Click and this conversation started between the two campuses. Now allow our group of young, sama po ako doon sa young coordinators to give an overview of what has been happening now and how these conversations are being conducted in this unusual time. So my role is to talk about the first one, the Click, the continuation of Click. And I'll start off with what's been happening. And thank you to Ma'am Eva for the really easy to sell name na Click. So we usually start with what we refer to as clickbaits. And we use this to encourage people to connect to us. So the only positive clickbait I know. And in our minds, sige po, next slide, Ma'am Rox. And in our minds, as Ma'am Eva mentioned, we need some space to breathe. And the way we imagine such conversation is it would happen over coffee or meals. And so that we can relax and talk about some of our ideas, the problems, and some of the solutions that our engineers, our scientists can propose. Ika nga, to quote one of the famous people during September, no? Let's stop and talk a while, sabi nga ng magaling na singer. But because COVID will not allow us to sit and have meals together, we had to improvise. And so, as you have been hearing, we relied a lot on technology. And over the last year and a half, we have been having what we refer to as mini clicks. Why it's called mini, you'll find out later. So most of these conversations are arranged virtually by members of our Click Ideas coordinators, such as Ma'am Rox and Ma'am Les, who would connect a medical problem to one or more possible solutions offered by our friends in engineering, other sciences, and even from the arts from Diliman. And it usually starts as an idea from our scientists that we match, or it can also start as an idea from our scientists that we match to possible applications in the medical field. And occasionally, it can be like the original Click, which was to meet the entire department to ask for projects that they think may benefit from collaboration, such as shown on the picture on the right. Now, from the initial conversations, teams are usually formed, and the teams may be as few as 3 to sometimes as many as more than 10 to further explore the details of developing these ideas into a product, something that will be used in the clinic, something that our patients and our healthcare workers can benefit from. So mini does not necessarily refer to the size of the project or the team, but it allows us to differentiate them from eventually some of these cases being showcased in our plenary sessions, which we call the Grand Click. Okay, so the Grand Click is planned to be a quarterly activity that is usually co-hosted by either a laboratory, a department, or even just a special interest group from either campuses. We plan this to be an alternating event as a way for also us, the members of SIBOL and the public, to be familiar with all the exciting innovations that these specialists have to offer. And so these are really things that gather interest. And when we had our first Grand Click last March, in cooperation with the Computer Vision and Machine Intelligence Group of Professor Pros Naval, they gave us a taste of many exciting projects that actually the laboratory has been working on and should have been used in different fields in medicine. But unfortunately, because they have not been matched to clinicians previously, we weren't able to find out about them and use them. So during this session, we also updated the audience on projects that are ongoing to also inspire them, especially those who might be interested to connect, and highlight that the ideas eventually become useful innovations. The question, of course, is, so what now? If I connect, what happens when you click? And this is just a representation. As I'm showing you, it's just a partial list of projects. Again, and these are just projects that started after the SIBOL COVID response. Eventually, from the simple conversations, we want to end up with something useful, products, services, and we get connected to a growing network of equally motivated innovators. As Chancellor earlier mentioned in her opening statement, she wants us to expand and work beyond COVID. And this is exactly that. I'm happy to announce that we are now monitoring more than 10 projects that germinated from these mini and grand cliques. And we have involved more clinical departments and more engineers and scientists as many become aware of the collaborations and actually clicked to connect to us. Eventually, and hopefully, we can go beyond our shade of maroon and green, as Chancellor also challenged us to do before the program started, maybe a different shade of green, blue, and other yellows that may other colors like that may be able to connect to us and work with us in UP SIBOL. So lastly, let me take this opportunity to invite our innovators who are watching us now to connect with us. No idea is too small nor too crazy for us, believe us. We're also here to connect people and find the right collaborators. So don't be shy, don't hesitate. Remember that we are actually just a click away. I'll end here, and I now invite Engineer Rox De Leon to talk about the innovations in health lectures and systems design for healthcare elective. Thank you, and good morning.
Thank you, Doc Nats, for that presentation. So we just heard about the click that we conduct quarterly, no? And as a response to click, we have the innovations in health lectures and the systems design for healthcare, which are initiatives that aim to encourage Filipinos to engage in medical device development by providing them the opportunities to learn on how to navigate the technical, clinical, business, and social considerations involved in developing these devices that are tailored to the Philippine context. So for the implementation of the IH lectures and the systems design for healthcare, we did an inside and beyond the classroom approach. Beyond the classroom, we have the innovations in health lectures. So these are lectures that are open to the UP community, and soon will also be open to those outside UP who are interested in learning about the different stages of the translational process for medical device development. So these lectures happen every third Thursday of the month, every quarter, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And due to our current situation, we are conducting these lectures via Zoom. So our goal is that for each meeting, we tackle a certain stage or area of the translational process to allow the participants the opportunity to learn what happens in these stages of the medical device development. So our very first one was back in February, where we had Dr. Jojo Mantarin, chair of the UP Manila Research Ethic Board and member of the Health Technology Assessment Committee, talk to us a bit about the health technology assessment and its impact on biomedical innovation. So we just gave a brief lecture of the HTA process and brief us about the methods and principles involved. In May, since we now have a lot of new upcoming devices that we want to introduce to the public, we are very grateful for the generous time given by none other than Engineer Maria Cecilia Matienzo herself, who is the OIC Director 4 of the FDA Center for Device Regulation and Radiation Health and Research, who gave us an introduction and guidance on how we can navigate the medical device regulation process in the Philippines. And because we are very new with this platform of collaborating at the intersection of engineering and medicine, we asked for inputs and we asked Dr. Ilustre Guloy and Engineer Jude Sassing to share their experiences of how they did it, how they developed their innovations such as the Axis knee replacement system from an engineering and clinical perspective, and the journey that they went through from conceptualization to putting it into market. Our last session will be on November, and we will have Director Ludi Tejero of UP Manila TTBDO talk about the technology transfer and its role in biomedical innovation. So our goal for these innovations in health lectures is to go through each of the stages of the translational medicine process and be able to provide those opportunities for those who are just curious, how can I get into medical device innovation? Inside the classroom, because we need students who are thinking like clinicians while solving problems like engineers should, we introduced the pilot offering of the Introduction to Systems Design for Healthcare, or the ECE 197, which is the undergraduate course, and it's equivalent from the graduate course, the Process Systems Design for Healthcare, which is a course that is co-offered by the Department of Chemical Engineering and the UP Electrical and Electronics Engineering Institute at the College of Engineering at UP Diliman. So I'm here to present this as part of the co-handlers of that course. So this was generously supported by UP SIBOL. So we have Dr. Edward Wang, Director Ludi Tejero of UP Manila, TTBDO, Dr. Brian Alamani of Chemical Engineering, and Dr. Richard Hizon of Triple E. So in this course, since it's pilot offering, I think this is one of the first truly interdisciplinary course wherein we had students from the College of Engineering and students from the College of Medicine brainstorm and think of unmet needs and solutions and how they can address them. So for our pilot offering, we have students from the College of Medicine, students from College of Pharmacy, Arts and Sciences, and the College of Engineering. And throughout the semester, what we did is we identified clinical needs that is based on the first phase of the biodesign process, which is identified. Because before we can put or translate a medical device into public utilization, we first need to identify what unmet clinical needs do we need to address that would provide the greatest value for its intended user. And how did we do that? What we did was we divided the course into two parts, which is the innovation in innovator's journey case study for the first part and the virtual clinical immersion for the second part. For the first part of the course, we asked speakers to share their stories of how they navigated their health innovation journey. So we've had the faces of UP SIBOL give their talks, and we are very grateful again for the time that they have given us throughout the semester. We gave the students an introduction to bioethics, tech transfer, intellectual property, and healthcare regulatory system. I'd like to emphasize that we are very grateful for Attorney Roel Barba, Director General of IPOPhil, who gave a few minutes of his time in one of our sessions to provide information or give the students a view of the IP landscape of the Philippines. And of course, Undersecretary Domingo, Director General of FDA himself, gives students an inspirational message of how you should not let device regulation hinder you from pushing through these new innovations and thinking of how you can move them closer to market. In the second part of the course, since we cannot really go to the clinic and observe and do this clinical immersion activities, we moved the clinic closer to the students. So we invited these prominent clinicians and engineers from different focus area, wherein they shared their challenges, their current situation, and what are the current state-of-the-art solutions in their field of expertise. So earlier, Dr. Wang mentioned the OR tour that was given by Dr. Cabaluna before to the engineers in person. So this time around, we asked him to give a virtual tour of the OR to the engineering and medical students. And then by the end of the semesters, we culminated with the final presentation, wherein the students from these focus areas, so each group focused on a specific clinical area, and then they presented the different needs that they observed and explored throughout the semester. So we asked them to basically list down 16 needs. And then from those 60 needs, what we wanted to do is to have them select one need that would be most value-adding based on different criteria that they are looking into. So we wanted them to look into social consideration, the cost associated with developing a solution, regulatory hurdles, IP landscape, clinical and engineering feasibility of developing such a solution. So from those needs, our hope is for them to be able to select which among these needs will be most value-adding. So I would like to share this image of our last meeting during the final presentation, wherein we heard the students share the unmet clinical needs that they have identified throughout the semester. So after this, I would like to invite Dr. Mickey Miranda, who will be talking about the response to the CHE 297 and ECU 197 elective.
Hi, thank you, Ma'am Rox. So, Since the introduction to systems design for healthcare and process systems design for healthcare lectures, several students really expressed their interest to observe in UP SIBOL projects. Some regard this as an eye-opening experience on the potential of collaborations in the realm of healthcare. And one student quipped, after attending CHE297, ECE197, it dawned on me how collaboration could create innovative solutions for current and challenging problems in the country. Next slide. Someone said, I want to become more exposed and involved in the health industry with the hopes of ultimately contributing to the integration and perpetuation of engineering and medicine solutions. Next slide. Thus, we launch BINHI, or biomedical immersion in health-related industries. This will be a pilot immersion program for students offered by UP SIBOL as a feedback response to those who attended the Introductions to Health Systems Design for Healthcare. Next slide. So with this program, students will have the opportunity to learn theoretical knowledge and practical skills in health research, experimentation, scientific communication, and implementation by taking part in UP SIBOL and its ongoing flagship projects. Students will also gain a framework of understanding the surrounding complex forces that shape the Philippine health industry with a better understanding of the complexity of problems experienced by researchers, doctors, engineers, and scientists alike. BINHI will start at the first semester of academic year 2021 to 2022 with a core group of 20 students from different undergraduate and graduate courses. Right now, we receive an overwhelming number of applicants, so we can't wait to welcome them into the program. Thank you. Back to you, Sir Philip and Ma'am Leslie.
Thank you, Dr. Aureliasa, Engineer De Leon, and Dr. Miranda. The UP SIBOL network of clinicians, engineers, and future scientists continues to grow with the big effort and passion of these hardworking innovators. And we hope that UP SIBOL grows into something more than just a laboratory. We dream of becoming the organization that researchers and industry seek for connections, networking, collaboration, and team formation. Our next speaker is the current director of the Technology Transfer and Business Development Office of the University of the Philippines, Manila, the past dean of the UP College of Nursing, and past director of the National Graduate Office of the Health Sciences. An author of several publications and reviewer in international journals, and has received awards nationally and internationally. She graduated from the University of California, Berkeley, and the University of California, San Francisco, with a Master's of Translational Medicine degree. Let us all please welcome Director Lourdes Tejero. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you, Doc Philip. So magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And I'm here to tell you about the Technology Transfer and Business Development Office, otherwise known as the TTBDO. And I have a PowerPoint to share. I hope you're able to see it. So I'd like to tell you firstly what TTBDO is and what we can do to help our researchers and innovators protect their IPs and also eventually commercialize it. So here we see what's written here, that TTBDO assists UP Manila constituents in securing the intellectual property, IP, protection for their intellectual outputs. UPM TTBD also aids in the eventual utilization or commercialization of these UPM IPs. Let me go to the next slide. And this is our mandate. So as you can see here, We seek, secure, and scale to serve. Under seek, we have the following activities: intellectual property campaigns. That's why we go from college to college and institutions like PGH and NIH in order to tell them about IP. And then technology and intellectual property audits, intellectual property advisory services, and invention disclosure. We have a portal there in our website. And then under secure, once we get the disclosures, we help the innovators protect the IP. So we do invention patent protection. We do in-house drafting actually of patents. Our TTBDO personnel are able to do that. And also, aside from patent protection, there's also UM protection. That means utility model. And then we do trademark registration and industrial design protection. And even in UP Manila, we already have existing industrial design protected. And then copyright protection. Copyright is also part of intellectual property. And then IP protection through Patent Cooperation Treaty, otherwise known as the PCT. So what is PCT? That is the protection of the IPs internationally in other countries. And we have actually in UP Manila 3 PCT applications done. And then scale to serve. And this means business or commercialization. So technology licensing. So we have a number of licensees, awareness campaigns, and legal assistance. So to date, we have the following numbers. So we have 23 licensees for our different, sorry, it went back to the previous slide. So 23 licensees for our pharmaceutical products and other biomedical devices. And 9 are in process. And among them are also our SIBOL projects. And spin-offs, spin-offs would be startups, but the CEO or the main, the protagonist would be the inventors themselves. So we have 3. And then utility models, otherwise known as the petit model, petit patents, there are 42, and trademarks 14. And in terms of patents, even during the pandemic, we have been processing and drafting patents. We have 9 in 2021 and more coming. In 2020, there were 7, and 2019, 4, and before 2018, there were 15. So we have a total of 35 patent applications done. And those numbers garnered or gained us the Platinum Award in 2020 from the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines. So I think this picture has not been shown yet. This is one of the very few pictures na nakuha na grupo. So people are not in mass. So this is the very first meeting between UP Manila. You see here all the doctors led by Dr. Wang, and of course, Executive Director Eva Cotiong Cadela Paz, and the former TTBDO of UP Diliman Director and now Vice Chancellor Nichay Pasia. So, and all the rest are faculty members, professors from the College of Engineering. So this is the very first meeting that happened in March 2019. And among the many technologies that we are handling at UPM TTBDO are the SIBOL intellectual properties, and you have actually seen it in the video, the Sanipa, the ProPil,
Okay, Migs. L, can we confirm if we can bring back Doc Rudy?
We'll check, ma'am. I think na ano siya, na disconnect. We'll...
Yes, yes. While waiting for Doc Ludi to be able to connect back to our conference, maybe we can proceed to the next part, siguro. What do you think, Doc Philip?
Yes, yes, Prof. Les. Maybe we can ask Doc Ludi to continue her talk.
All right. Okay.
After Dean Denoga, Associate Dean Denoga.
All right, sige. So let me now make a brief introduction. So to share with us the plans of the College of Engineering in UP Diliman in providing more opportunities to strengthen further collaborations between engineers and clinicians in realizing not only the vision of UP SIBOL, but also promoting biomedical engineering in the country. May I call on our Associate Dean for Research in the College of Engineering and a professor of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Engineer Gerald Jo Denoga. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome him with our virtual class.
Thank you very much, Leslie and Sir Philip. And a very good morning to everybody. Yusek Guevara, Chancellor Padilla, Dean Chong, Dr. Wang, Dr. Rojas, Dr. Cochanco de la Paz, Dr. Oliliasa, Engineer De Leon, Dr. Miranda, Dr. Tejero, and Engineer Sison, and Dr. Montoya. Thank you, and good morning, everybody. I'd just like to share with you some slides with regards to the current and future activities of the College of Engineering that are related to UP SIBOL. Okay. In the past 2 years, I have been witness to very great projects. Some, for example, the UP SIBOL, which are listed here as were shown in the great videos previously. And then we also have had some other projects that were initiated by the College of Engineering in the 2020, in the initial onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. And looking back, we started to develop certain strategies, not new, but actually just continuation of our thinking in terms of how to improve situations in terms of the research and development of the College of Engineering. Okay, and our strategies are focused on the fact that we should always be able to have more projects. Okay, we have a huge college with around 4,000 undergraduate students, about 1,600 graduate students, and almost 260 faculty members. Okay, so we should therefore find strategies that allow us to increase the pool of researchers, scientists, and engineers that address issues, for example, like health technologies. And in order for these RSEs to do the research, we must also provide them an enabling environment. And of course, provide incentives and then administrative support. Okay. And we apply these strategies towards teaching, research, service, and extension, which are, of course, the mandates of the University of the Philippines. In this case, if we start with teaching, highlighted in the previous videos actually are the courses and the classes that the several departments have already initiated. So I'd like to just show some that are related to the biomedical engineering field. For example, starting with chemical engineering, we know that they are heavily invested into SIBOL. So aside from the first 6 courses listed here, we have seen that they are already instituting and teaching new courses like the process systems design, biomedical engineering laboratory, and the biopharmaceutical engineering, as well as immunoengineering. For mining, metallurgical, and materials engineering, they have courses already that support bioengineering, such as the biomaterials, surface science, spectroscopy, degradation of materials, etc., etc. And with the EEE, the Electrical and Electronics Engineering Institute, they have classes like digital signal processing, but are also implementing classes in bioinstrumentation and sensors. And of course, what we saw a while ago, the systems designed for healthcare. And we also see the collaboration of computer science in the education portion by fielding classes in systems biology in cooperation with the Philippine Genome Center. And they have also recently initiated the MS in the biomedical informatics. Now, a relatively newcomer to the biomedical engineering field is the BS in mechanical engineering, from which my department is where I am from. And we have recently implemented a new design-oriented curriculum with outcomes-based courses, where such a program has 2 new core courses specific for product design and development, and another 2 new courses in engineering research, as well as the incorporation of technology entrepreneurship. Okay. So with these 5 major programs and departments here, we see that there are more and more collaborations or directions towards biomedical engineering. But moving forward just beyond the undergraduate levels, okay, we are already implementing what we call, or proposing what we call, the MS in biomedical engineering. Okay, we are planning a 30-unit graduate program with some physiology courses, technology evaluation and development, some math and modeling, of course, ethics and regulatory seminars, and as well as immersion courses that will make sure that that we have relevant subject matter. Okay. Now, I would like to highlight this particular field or this particular program because, in addition to just developing biomedical technologies, our hope is that with this particular program, we develop the human resources that are capable of producing those technologies. Because we cannot rely entirely on our faculty and our current pool of researchers alone. We have to expand that pool if we are to address what is already mentioned, the huge number of problems that we face in health technologies that that is very difficult to address given our limited resources. So we need human resource development. And our program aims to support areas such as imaging, instrumentation, signal processing. And then we have the biomechanics, biotransport, and mechanical biology. And then molecular, cell, and tissue engineering, and of course, computational biology. And with these particular areas, we have already established that the different departments will support through the various courses and these certain facilities as listed here on the right. Okay. And we actually aim to have this new program instituted hopefully by next academic year. Okay. Now this is on the level of education. Now of course, once we train the researchers, scientists, and engineers, we have to provide them an enabling environment. Okay. So one of the things that we're actually doing now, we have given this pandemic, we have realized that physical access to our laboratories is very, very difficult. So instead, we are in addition to applying for exemptions to have our researchers access our labs, we are focusing also into numerical research. For example, we have invested heavily into a new 6-year license of an ANSYS multiphysical simulation software, which we have been using before, for example, to design or to solve, for example, simulate. On the picture on the bottom left is an abdominal aortic aneurysm. And Dr. Berana and his team has used ANSYS also for the analysis of droplet distribution of COVID particles in the air in an isolated room, in a closed room. And Dr. Danao has actually used ANSYS software also for designing fixators for orthopedics. Okay. And recently, we have coordinated, and thankfully to the UP system, they have approved the purchase of a 3-year system-wide, UP system-wide license of MATLAB, which has so many uses, especially in the field of computation and simulation. And then we also have new software, for example, for drug discovery under Schrödinger, which has recently been acquired through the chemical engineering department. And these software can now be used with the high performance computing facility that we are establishing in the college as well. Okay, so that we are not just limited to the physical laboratories, but we can now go beyond and even do our research remotely. In addition to, let's say, numerical research, we need to make devices, and therefore, one of our biggest thrusts actually is the Design and Manufacturing Center, part of under the Mechanical Engineering Department actually, where we have recently added equipment and invested more into personnel, so that in the 2 major portions, the machine design laboratory, we have increased capabilities for the design, analysis, and simulation. And then we are now able to do with automated manufacturing facilities, we can now better prototype, design for manufacture, and mass production. So actually shown here on the left is our new building. And on the right are actually some of the products that have come out of that facility. For example, the powered air purifying respirator, as you see in the market today, as well as the UV sterilization devices used in LRT. Now, this is for the enabling environments. But of course, we need to be able to incentivize and encourage our researchers. So recently, we have increased our efforts to get new professorial chair awards so that our faculty will not have to worry so much about the financial difficulties, but rather be incentivized to do research as well. And there are new research grants coming out that are industry-led, okay, and focusing on certain applications. And one of those is actually for health. Okay. Now, I mentioned the industry. We are trying to enhance industry collaboration so far, because the things that we are noticing here is that we need their constant participation in product development, from the infancy of the conception of the idea to bringing it to market, okay, market readiness, and essentially commercialization. Okay. And one of the things, actually, one of the greatest tools that we have here at our disposal is through the DOST SEI program of the Engineering, Research, and Development for Technology, which was spearheaded by Yusek Guevara back then, where the ERDT program is a multi-university program that provides scholarships for graduate students. But in addition to that, it has provided us facilities and training, okay, for our faculty. And currently, we had certain priority research tracks, but given the current situation, we have actually already introduced our steering committee and soon to be proposed to SEI, the elevation of health as a priority research track. Okay. In addition to the local scholarships, ERDT is also encouraging and providing our faculty to take PhD fellowships abroad as well as postdoctoral studies to upgrade their faculty in biomedical engineering. Okay. And as mentioned a while ago, with regards to how we can further collaborate, not just within UP, okay, we have already contacted, for example, Dr. Season and his team, and the people from the UP Engineering Research and Development Foundation Incorporated, UP ERDFI, as well as the members of the consortium, the ERDT consortium, which are actually 8 different universities scattered around the country, where our goal is to share not exactly the burden, but rather the opportunity of finding solutions to certain health problems, health technology problems. Our mindset always is that if there are more people available that can provide fresh ideas in solving problems, the easier that we can get to the solution. Okay, and by increasing the base of the people who do researches, our pool of researchers, we end up having multiple solutions, and it's a matter of therefore just seeing which ones will mature the first. Okay. Now, being from administration, we also see that a lot of administrative support is necessary. Okay, so we have already are having talks with the UP Diliman administration for the implementation of what we call a research management office, specifically under the College of Engineering, because the college is the largest college in UP Diliman, and we are experiencing almost roughly 2 billion pesos in research funding every year. And we realize that there may be resources available, there are great research topics, however, our researchers are often bogged down by the administrative matters. Okay, so we aim to let the researchers focus and do the research so that the RMO will be the ones to implement the programs, where we try to rationalize certain activities and we incorporate market assessment, commercial viability, and also do the coordination among the different stakeholders, and then provide shared services, specifically, for example, like the purchasing, the accounting, human resource management, clerical services, which is a huge problem right now. And of course, perform project management. These are for research projects where we tap the researchers of the College of Engineering. However, we also have our counterpart in the National Engineering Center, which we plan to upgrade the project management office in a similar manner of the RMO under the College of Engineering. Okay. With these strategies, where we have something for teaching, research, and service and extension, we see that we are able to satisfy the mandates of the University of the Philippines, where teaching, research, service, and extension all lead to our growth. Ika nga, we say that SIBOL, when I looked up into the dictionary, SIBOL, it just means growth. Okay, so these are the plans and activities of our College of Engineering. Thank you very much and have a good morning.
Thank you very much, Associate Dean Denoga. We, the clinicians and researchers here in UP Manila, look forward to further enriching our collaboration with the College of Engineering. The UP SIBOL and will be strongly supporting your activities, and with your blessing, we'll be actively collaborating with your faculty and researchers and students to produce more innovative surgical and biomedical products. May we call back Professor Ludi to for closure to formally close our talk.
Yes, so sorry. The rains are strong here. I learned that Metro Manila is signal number 2. So okay, I will. It was already towards the end, but I would just like to highlight the fact that TTBDO, UP Manila, UP Diliman, and UP System had been helping a lot the SIBOL teams in their technologies. So as I was mentioning, I think I was cut here. The Sanipad, prone pillow, telemetry, nanomask, PAPR, telepresence, the e-steth, clean intubate, disinfection of PPE, and many others that are coming up. So what did TTBDO do? So during the pandemic, because from the initial, then the pandemic came, so we met online most of the time, and our technology transfer officers met with the teams and look into what would be the terms or the items that we place in the patent application. And eventually, for most of them, they were already filed for patent application at the IPO field. Also, we engaged the help of law firms for some of the technologies. So for my last slide, these are the UPM TTBDO services. And you can find them also in our website. And if there are inquiries, please send us an email, or you can even connect with us through the website that we have. So that's it. I hope I wasn't cut. Back to you, Dr. Philip. Thank you for disclosure.
Okay, thank you, Doc Ludi. Resilient talaga, no? Naputol lang. Kaya pa rin nating bumalik. So with that, we thank you so much for once again stressing to us that apart from exercising our creativity and industriousness, in the center of our innovation must be the effort in really bringing these innovations to the intended users, the beneficiaries, by being open to adjustments to ensure that these become accessible, affordable, and appropriate, or simply put, the triple A's, you know, as Doc Ewang has mentioned earlier. So we definitely look forward to continued guidance, Doc, from you and your to ensure all of these at all times. So Doc Philip, back to you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Les. Our next speaker is a professor of the UP Diliman College of Engineering, Electrical and Electronics Engineering Institute, and the program leader of the DOST UP Enterprise Center for Technopreneurship. He is also the project leader of the UP Sustaining Collaboration in an advanced learning environment, or upscale Innovation Hub. He's also one of the pioneers of biomedical engineering and biomedical device innovation in, in the Philippines. Let us all welcome Professor Luis Sison. Prof. Sison, welcome to the virtual stage. Professor Sison, I hope you're okay.
Doc Louis? Elle, can you confirm if Doc Louis is still connected with us?
Prof. Les, I know that Prof. Louis is also busy this morning with a workshop for upscale. So I'm not sure if he's monitoring his screen.
So maybe we should.
Maybe we can entertain some questions before we, while waiting for Professor Louis to come in.
While waiting din siguro, Doc, no, I would like us to also acknowledge the creativity and the artistic mind of our tawag doon, nag-design ng ating logo, ano, si Engineer Jason Pechardo, and with him is also Doc Mickey Miranda, no. Ang ganda nung ating logo. It represents how we have sort of represented ourselves, no? The SIBOL, the growth, the germination of all these ideas. So, Petch and Doc Nikki, maraming salamat sa logo na nabuo ninyo for UP SIBOL. No, Doc Philip.
Okay. Are there any questions from our audience? You can write your questions in the chat box if you're shy to talk.
Actually, Doc, there were a number of questions earlier. Ano, meron ng tanong tungkol sa paano daw mag-participate sa click, and just for everyone to be informed about it in case you were not able to catch up the answers, catch up on the answers written on the chat box. You can just send an email to through our upcbolclick@gmail.com email address, basically. Or if you know anybody from SIBOL, anyone active in the SIBOL program at the moment, just tell them that you would like to be assisted by our click coordinators in connecting to the different potential partners in developing your idea further into a project, into a device, technology innovation. That's one question I have noticed, Doc. No. Yes, go ahead, Doc.
Prof. Les, I still don't see any questions being written in the chat box, so maybe we can proceed with our next important guest.
All right. So let me give the introduction, Doc. No, it is time for us we now shift, no, basically to hear and understand the challenge and issues at our National Agency for Science and Technology, how they want us to focus on to help our country meet the Sustainable Development Goals for one, and the goals of the National R&D Agenda, as well as the mechanisms that our Department of Science and Technology has set up to capacitate and support not only UP SIBOL researchers, but all innovators in our country. So without further ado, let us now welcome Dr. Rowena Cristina Guevara, the Undersecretary for Research and Development of our Department of Science and Technology. Dean Gev, I still call her Dean Gev, though she really is already Yusek Gev. Yusek Gev.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leslie. Chancellor Menchit Padilla, Vice Chancellor Michay Pasya, Dean Charlotte Chong, Executive Director Jimmy Montoya, Executive Director Eva de la Paz Cutionco, Associate Dean Happy Denoga, Dr. Alberto Rojas, Director Ludi Tejero, Dr. Nathaniel Oriliaza, Engineer Rox De Leon, Dr. Mickey Miranda, colleagues from UP Manila and UP Diliman, especially the UP College of Engineering, the UP SIBOL program team led by Dr. Edward Wang, my co-workers from DOST, friends from other government agencies, partners from media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning to everyone. Magandang agham po sa inyong lahat. A lifetime ago, I was an instructor in a laboratory at the UP Department of Electrical Engineering, and I recall the electromyogram circuit of several students, including Louis Season, who were working with Dr. Tigno of UP Manila. At that time, I even volunteered to try the EMG. It did not have an IP protection. I did not ask if there are safety features in the circuit. I did not ask if it has been clinically tested. I just trusted the young innovators in our laboratory. In 1997, armed with a few subjects in biomedical engineering at the University of Michigan, and coming home with me are several PhDs from Purdue with the likes of Dr. Louis Sison, Dr. Manuel Ramos, Ms. Manuela Lee, we started a series of biomedical engineering subjects at the UP Electrical and Electronics Engineering Institute. And at that time, building an EMG was just a lab exercise of our student. About 11 years ago, on October 26, 2011, I started discussion via email with Dado Banatao, the Philippine Berkeley Advanced Research Institute, or PBARI. I was a member of the PhilDev Foundation and was helping out in crafting that proposal. Eventually, the PBARI became PICARI. As of 2018, we have already exceeded the UNESCO benchmark for the number of researchers per million population. The critical mass of S&T human resource is already here in the country. If the Science for Change bill was already a law, we would have been able to give a bigger grant for SIBOL to work across campuses and across universities in the university belt, and even work with the DOST Electronics Product Development Center, or EPDC, and the DOST Advanced Additive Manufacturing System for 3D printing to quickly design, build, and test biomedical devices, and most importantly, transfer the developed technologies to the private sector or created spin-offs to do it. Until we have the Science for Change Act, we work within the DOST budget, and we have the niche centers in the regions for R&D, or NICER, that includes SIBOL. Today, you have a Chancellor, Dr. Menchit Padilla, a Vice Chancellor, Dr. Eva Cuchonco de la Paz, a Dean, Dr. Charlotte Chong, TTOs like Dr. Louis, Dr. Jong, and you have Director Ludi, and you have Dr. Wang and the SIBOL team. Even with the pandemic, the stars are aligned, and nothing is impossible in bringing the ideas of doctors and engineers from SIBOL to the hospitals all over the country. The Department of Science and Technology has been a strong partner of UP Manila in conducting priority health researches and doing impactful R&D to improve the quality of life of Filipinos. This partnership has been more evident during this time of pandemic. As you know, at DOST, we have the Grant in Aid program, and there are many ways that any researcher in the country can access the fund. We have 4 councils: the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development, the Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technology Research and Development, the Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic and Natural Resources Research and Development, the National Research Council of the Philippines. All of these 4 councils are giving grant in aids. Of course, the biggest grants come from the DOST Grant in Aid. Now, we have programs for scholarships. You know, the DOST Science Education Institute, they already have scholarships for undergraduate, master's, and PhD, both here and abroad, especially for fields where we do not have any university offering the degree program. We also have programs for transferring technology. Each of the councils that I mentioned, the big ones, PICARD, PSHIRD, and PCHRD, have technology transfer offices or technology transfer enablers. We also have technology business incubators all over the country that will help startups or spin-offs translate their laboratory research output into products and commercialize them. We also have the Technology Application and Promotion Institute that can assist you in protecting your intellectual property, and even if you need government venture capital. Recently, with the Innovative Startup Act, the DOST launched the Startup Grant Fund, or SGF, that allows DOST to give grants to 3-year-old or younger startups in the country. If you're an older company, if you're more than 3 years old, you can avail of the Science for Change program's Business Innovation through Science and Technology for Industry, where we give soft loan at 0% interest for your R&D needs, for example, for equipment, software or hardware, and perhaps even licenses. Since the first known COVID-19 case in the Philippines on January 30, 2020, the DOST has acted on the government's urge to focus on managing the virus and mitigate its socio-economic effect. Responding to this call, UP Manila performed a crucial role in implementing COVID-19 related R&D projects, such as the development of Gen Amplify, COVID-19 RT-PCR detection kit, faster for COVID-19 surveillance and health systems capacity forecasting, and the adjunctive therapy utility of VCO or virgin coconut oil for treating COVID-19 patients, among others. And now we have the UP SIBOL, which aims to establish a surgical innovation laboratory to conduct R&D in innovative surgical devices and serve as a preclinical trial laboratory for investigational surgical devices. From this program, we are expecting the following initial outcomes. First, the production of a prototype of different external fixators for different bones of the body. Two, basic and advanced operating room programmable, electronically targeted active light systems or PETALS prototype. And three, 5 prototypes of cost-effective hardware and software tandem that will accurately estimate the volume of blood loss in use laparotomy packs and gauze during surgery. We also commend the team's effort in forming the SIBOL COVID Task Force in response to the urgent need for medical device innovations aimed at protecting the healthcare workers amid the COVID-19 pandemic and in developing the Sanipod disinfection cubicles and the powered air purifying respirator for healthcare workers and frontliners. Indeed, sumisibol po kayo sa inyong mga trabaho. We are confident that UP SIBOL will continue in its active conversations and collaborations with national medical and surgeon organizations, hospital associations, the Department of Health, the Department of Trade and Industry, and the private sector to strategically transfer, commercialize, and mass-produce developed technologies. We highly anticipate seeing our hospitals use these cost-effective yet innovative medical devices for Filipinos needing such breakthroughs. You know, yesterday I had a very short meeting with Chancellor Menchit, Executive Director Eva, Secretary Boy Fortunato de la Peña, and Dr. Jimmy Montoya regarding another project. But what was important in that meeting, my takeaway, is that at the UP Manila, it is possible to do upward delegation. If there are things that our researchers cannot do on their own, the administration of UP Manila is ready to help you get it done. We look forward to possible partnerships between UP SIBOL and the newly approved NICER of the Institute of Biomedical Engineering and Health Technologies, or IBET, in De La Salle University to further strengthen collaborative R&D on biomedical devices and medical equipment. As mentioned by Associate Dean Happy Denoga, there is strength in numbers. The ERDT has lasted for over 14 years today, and it would not have been possible without those 8 universities working together. I truly hope that the University of the Philippines, Manila, would consider working with the other universities in the country who are in the field of biomedical engineering. We know, for example, that Ateneo de Zamboanga is also working on biomedical devices. So please look around you and work with all of those that are willing to work with you. We likewise envision that UP SIBOL will have a significant role in the emerging sector of medical tourism as we further invest in our healthcare infrastructure and technologies. Based on the latest data from Medical Tourism Index, the Philippines currently rank 24th out of 46 listed destinations for medical tourism in the world. We're also confident that UP SIBOL will actively support and participate in expanding our MD PhD scholarship programs and in training our researchers in science communication, leadership, and governance for the health sector. We also hope that UP SIBOL will help us retain these important MD PhD graduates in the country. Finally, I would like to thank everyone who worked so hard to make this program a reality. From the click to the SIBOL, all the way to UP Diliman, we are grateful to your steadfast support in implementing a whole-of-nation strategy and fulfilling our goal of society-centric progress and development. Let us keep on working together to continue accelerating the sustainable development of the Filipinos' quality of life through R&D, which makes healthy and positive change happen. Magandang agham po sa ating lahat.
Thank you, Undersecretary Guevara, for your continued support for UP Manila projects and programs like UP SIBOL. We will deliver on our promise to produce innovative health and biomedical solutions designed by the Filipino for the Filipino. Thank you, ma'am. May I ask Prof. Louis if you're ready?
Yes, good morning
Good
everyone.
morning, sir.
Sorry pa nagka-problema lang sa connection. All right, let me just set up here. Good afternoon, good morning, Yusek Guevara and Dr. Wang, and to the rest of the SIBOL team. Good morning, Dr. Philip. Thank you for inviting me over. I'd like to walk you through some of the activities that we're doing here at Upscale. If I may share my screen. Right. Can everyone see the screen, the slides?
Yes.
All right. Good afternoon. Good morning also, Chancellor Menchik, Doc Albert. Matagal na kaming classmates sa dito sa innovation. All right. Okay. Right. So some of the things that we're proud of recently sa Upscale is earlier this year we were able to bag the Grand Champion Award dun sa Startup Incubator Awards, which was conducted in partnership with the DOST and Akubo. And we're very grateful for the support that we have received, not just from the UP community, from the UP system, and from UP Diliman, but most importantly from DOST and the programs of PSURD to support incubators like Upscale, along with the other incubators around the country. Okay. So we're also grateful for our steering committee that have helped us, through all of the challenges that we faced. So one of our goals in Upscale is to make sure that we have the key stakeholders on board, from the Vice Chancellor for Research and Development. We're hosted by the Dean we're hosted by the College of Engineering, Dean Purdy, and we work with the Colleges of Science and Business Ad, and with other organizations in the National Engineering Center, even with their professional engineering training division. And pati sa creatives po, kasama po, we collaborate with the fine arts. So we're grateful for Dean Mitzi also for rounding out our stakeholders in our community. The other structure of Upscale is we have our senior partners, advisors that help us mentor our teams and help us network with industry as well. So we have people from the various disciplines, health sciences, education, manufacturing, and health as well, and transportation. All right, and I'd like to acknowledge our team, Roger and Jay. So we have a well-rounded team that supports the operations of our upscale. No? So let me walk you through some of the programs that we have. No? So we have, in addition to our network with the government, academia, and industry, we enable connections between all of these different stakeholders. No? So we have two programs. One is supporting startup companies. And I hope in this group, there are a couple of spin-offs that might come out and make an impact in the health sector. No? So some of the startups that we've advised and have made some traction. One Watt is got accepted into the Rockstart incubation program in the Netherlands, and they make equipment that listens to your machines and tells you whether it needs preventive maintenance or not. No? Doon naman po sa social enterprise, we have the first startup that was accepted in the accelerator in Seattle. That's Pledge. So ano naman sila, crowdfunding for farmers. No? So in the environment, we have Green Ants, which makes recycled products for construction materials. In the advertising sector, we have Orchestrac. What I like about Orchestrac is thesis to ng mga estudyante. No? And through mentoring in upscale and OpenTBI, they were able to pivot and launch their product. And then they have a lot of corporate customers already. So we support a wide variety and diversity of startups, and we have helped assisted over 30 startups, and been updated pala to, no? But for the way we support startups is primarily networking and mentoring. We help them secure investment. As one of our senior partners, Al, said, no, when you pitch for investment, hindi lang usually isa o dalawang pitch yan. Minsan makakasampu ka before you receive your investment. So we help our teams through that and structure their company to receive investment. Not so much important now dahil home working yung yung co-working and back office support, but it's there. And of course, one of the main advantages of being a university incubator is that our startups receive access to our expertise and our facilities in the university. Okay, and of course, we also provide a training and capacity building to institutions around the country. So that's our first program. Our second program is Ignite, not to be confused with other Ignite events. No? So Ignite is our industry collaborations program, and this is our newest program in upscale. And this is a market-driven product development program. No? So this complements the basic research track of the colleges and the campuses. And this is one of the starting points of our collaborations is what we call the reverse pitch. Meaning we invite industry over and we try to understand the challenges that they face, and we try to match them with expertise in the university. You know? And then beyond the initial matching, we shepherd, we manage the process and applying best practices in innovation management. We shepherd it through the team formation process, a proposal, planning and proposal process, and even all the way through implementation and productization. Kumbaga end-to-end planning and support yung ginagawa namin with the industry, and we're pleased to have signed up both big corporate partners as well as some SMEs to support them in launching innovative products. Okay, so here are some of our industry partners. We have big companies like Monde Nation and Vistaland, and SMEs like Jmart. And one of our recent projects is not just with one company, but with a whole sector. No? Yung furniture industries, we're trying to help them improve the aesthetics of their product using innovative plasma coating technology. Right, so I think I will pause here at this point. Again, I'd like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share what we do at Upscale and let us know how we can help. We have supported some of the SIBOL projects already, and with an upcoming initiative in collaboration with PCHRD and TTBDO, not just at the UP system, but also from Diliman, Manila, and Los Baños. We hope to apply our expertise to helping launch the SIBOL portfolio of projects. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity to share. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Let me know if you have any questions.
All right. Thank you very much, Doc Louis.
Good morning again, everyone. I think Prof. Les is also affected by the typhoon. Thank you again, Professor Louis. We acknowledge that Upscale has become an important model of or vehicle of that innovations for our UP-SIBOL researchers and innovators can learn from. We hope to join your workshop soon. Here's Professor Les again. Les, are you okay?
Yeah, I just got dropped. I dropped off from our conference. So yeah, I think you pick it up, Doc. So yeah, we can proceed to our next part.
Yes. For your questions, maybe before we proceed to the next section, if there are questions.
Yeah, anyone would like to ask further about the things that Doc Louis has shared with us? Please feel free to chat them in the chat box or unmute yourselves in case you want to directly speak up, and voice out your queries.
Good morning din pala din Chong.
Morning.
If there are no questions, maybe we can hear some messages from our very important partners in innovation. Maybe we can call on Sir Al Serafica, who has been very supportive of our activities and projects.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you guys all active and healthy in this very challenging times. I'm glad you're all proceeding forward with the best that you can, be able to advance your projects. I can't wait for it to get to the clinic validation stage, and definitely that's where I'm focused right now, to get your technologies manufacturing assessments to make sure that it's manufacturable economically, as well as the clinical validation, being able to look for outside independent. Unfortunately, we can't do it all in UP Manila and UP Diliman or within the UP system, even if we wanted to. We need to be able to have an outside entity validate our products to say that it's okay. And even more important is to have it regulatory approved. So I'm hoping that we can advance in the regulatory guidance documents of your medical devices you're developing, as well as interface closely with Engineer Matienzo of CDRH of the FDA, if only for us to be able to produce what I call investigational device exemption. That's very common in the US, but not available here. That will be good for allowing us to say that we've been assessed for safety and potential effectiveness, which will help not only convincing outside doctors, as well as potential collaborators and investors in those institutions to begin testing, adapting, modifying, as well as eventually purchasing your medical devices. So sorry to tell you, but we're only, I'd say, first 2-3 steps of the development medical device process, but we're getting there. We're almost halfway, guys. So I hope you have the energy and the patience. Unfortunately, medical device development is about a 3 to 5 year development if all goes well, and potentially several millions of investment. But if there's anything about it, we're all in this together. Looking forward to get us fully completed, commercialized, and sustainable devices for our country and for the Philippines. That's it. Thank you very much, guys, for giving me the time to chat with you and listening to everyone what you've done. Amazing what you've done in the last year and a half. And definitely, I'm looking forward to the next steps and the next stages. Thank you.
Salamat, Doc Al. Lagi kang nag-cheer sa amin, no? Thank you for cheering us up all the time. So, hopefully you don't tire, basically. Doc Philip?
Ang gagalakan nyo ako, Leslie. Nandito ako. Yan lang gusto ko sabihin sa inyo. Basta humingi lang kayo ng tulong. Don't be shy. I'll be here.
Maraming salamat, sir.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Naka-record po ito, sir. Prof. Les, before we continue, maybe I'd just like to address one of the questions in the chat box about the PAPR. I'm not sure if Dr. Grossman is still online, but if I may, on behalf of the PAPR team, the PAPR team is still in searching for an industry partner, and we're working closely with DOST and PCHRD to look for a prime candidate to partner with us. So hopefully we get this partnership soon, and we hope to see the SIBOL PAPR deployed in our hospital soon. And I don't see any other questions in the chat box, Prof. Les.
Yeah. Same here, Doc. So maybe we can proceed to the last part of our program.
This morning has been truly informative and inspiring. We would like to thank all of our speakers and panelists for devoting their full morning to join us in formally launching the UP Surgical Innovation and Biotechnology Laboratory, or the UP SIBOL. To formally close our conference, I have the honor to introduce an infectious disease specialist who established the TB study group of the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine, a health researcher and clinical trialist, and the current executive director of the DOST Philippine Council for Health Research and Development, Dr. Jaime Montoya.
To our dear Department of Science and Technology Undersecretary for Research and Development, Dr. Rowena Cristina Guevara, University of the Philippines Manila Chancellor, Dr. Carmencita Padilla, the Dean of the UP College of Medicine, Dr. Charlotte Chong, UP National Institutes for Health Executive Director Eva Cuchonco de la Paz, former Dean of the UP College of Medicine, Dr. Alberto Rojas, UP Manila Technology Transfer and Business Development Office Director, Dr. Lucy Tejero, Associate Dean of the UP Diliman College of Engineering, Engineer Gerald Denoga, UP SIBOL Program Leader, Dr. Edward Wang, our presenters for today and everyone who joined us for this kickoff, good morning. We celebrated the SIBOL program kickoff only today, even when we began the project early second quarter of the year, which is up. I think back then, we've only sown the seeds for this program, and this kickoff seems to symbolize that it is finally sprouting. Though the SIBOL program aims to provide an environment conducive for the conception and production of surgical innovations and the training for the use of these technologies, as you've shown in a presentation earlier, UP SIBOL immediately focused their efforts on responding to the immediate concern, which is COVID-19. The technologies the SIBOL team and DOST PCHRD have collaborated on were bedrocks for SIBOL's upcoming projects: the SaniPod, the PAPR, and telepresence and telemetry capabilities powered by the RxBox are not absolute solutions in ensuring that both patients and our healthcare professionals are safe during the pandemic, but also the quick repurposing of existing technology shows that Filipinos are not only capable of producing quality innovations, but that their products are also capable of adapting to the demands of the times. In this light, perhaps this is an aspect of the program we should consider, that the seeds we sow at SIBOL, moving forward, are innovations to quickly adapt and are resilient to the changing times, just like the Filipino people. This morning has obviously been fruitful, so I would like to congratulate Dr. Chong, Dr. Wang, and the SIBOL team for the success of this event. And I wish you all, innovators, the good fortune, and for all of us who meet today, more successes for the future. To everyone, enjoy the rest of the day at maligayang pagsibol po sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much, Director Montoya. Finally, we have come to the end of our program, which, let me emphasize, is just our kickoff conference in UP SIBOL. Like any other kickoff, this essentially means there is more to come. So keep watch, follow UP SIBOL in our upcoming events that will be announced through our social media accounts. And better, we invite you one more time to be part of the active movers of UP SIBOL. Thank you very much for staying with us up to this point. I look forward to meeting and working with all of you in the future. Thank you very much for the trust and confidence to co-host this event. So once again, this is Leslie Joy Diaz from the UP College of Engineering signing off. Doc Philip.
And this is Dr. Philip Poliante of the Department of Otolaryngology, Head and Neck Surgery, and Program Administrator of the UP SIBOL. We thank everyone for joining us in our kickoff conference, in our launch. We thank the speakers, the panelists, and of course, the attendees, our audience, who we look forward to meet again in future collaboration. Thank you very much.
I hope. They're asking for us to have a photo op. So
yes,
may we ask everyone to please turn on your videos? And Elle, may we ask you to please cue the photo, that if we should be smiling already.
Congratulations. Galing.
Salamat po,
Thank you very
Chancellor.
much, Chancellor Padilla. Thank you for the support.
Thank you.
And the trust.
Congratulations, Chancellor, and congratulations, SIBOL team.
Ay, thank you, Yusek.
Thank you very much, Yusek.
Thank you, USEC, for the support. This will not happen without the UST. So partnership, no? And there are expansion plans which we will present to you very soon.
Yeah.
May roadmap na binigay si Yusek.
Okay na po sa photo. We have 4 pages, so medyo matagal po ang smile. Sige po, for the first picture, 1, 2, 3, smile. Second page po. 1, 2, 3. Third page po tayo. 1, 2, 3. And then the last one. 1, 2, 3. Okay na po.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Salamat po sa lahat.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Proud Doc Ewangan team. Bye.
Thank you. Hey, thank you.
Hey, Chong. Bye, Manchit. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Congratulations. Bye.
Let's play the video again. Maganda yung video eh. Yung panoorin ulit.
Nasarapan.
Sir, aling video, sir?
yung dalawa.
Pakishare, Philip.
Yeah, bye, Phil.
Yes, ma'am. Wala pa yung extended version ng director's cut.
Wala pa, sir. May YouTube po na tayo. Nandun na po yung videos.
Nasa YouTube na ba yung
Yeah, ba?